Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inspiring and Able. I am super excited to welcome a beautiful young lady who is part of the Youth Leadership Committee at the Rick Hansen Foundation, Miss Peyton. Or Peyton Given. Thank you for joining me, Peyton.
You're very welcome. I'm very excited to be here in this opportunity. Gives me great joy to tell my experience about being a youth with cerebral palsy and how it ties into the Rick Hansen Foundation and the Youth Leadership Committee.
Wonderful. So tell us how did you come to know the foundation, and what is the youth committee? How did you come to know about the committee and the foundation itself?
Truthfully, I got an email one day asking if I would be interested in being on a youth leadership committee, and I was eager to learn more, and that was 2.5 years ago. So I am overjoyed to now be able to have a spot to advocate friends and committee members to collaborate with, and just a great support system that I have now and confidence building.
Wonderful. And what is your position on the committee? What's the purpose of the committee?
The purpose of the committee is to have a support system of youth living with disabilities that are able to have projects together. So for the end of the year project this year, we are putting out a blog about secondary schooling for youth and for people with disabilities.
And how's that going? If I may add a question, how's it going so far?
It is going very good. It's just in the part of it just in the stages of people looking over it right now. So hopefully soon it will be public.
Wonderful. And please send me the link when it is. What do you think is the most important thing for leadership when working with youth with disability?
There's a lot of things about leadership when it comes to youth with disabilities, but what I would mostly say is remember we're all people first. Before a wheelchair, walker, crutches, into intellectual disability. Remember we're just people like you. We're people that may have different needs, complex needs, such as cerebral palsy, epilepsy, autism, so many different needs. But we are people, and even though it might be hard to get to know some people, try, because there are some pretty awesome people with super abilities out there. And I really want to say the people of tomorrow with disabilities should not have to go through what I've had to go through in schools. So if you're a student with a disability, remember, like I said, we're all people. We are people that deserve to be like you. We are people that deserve to not be treated differently. We are people that should not be looked down on.
Very well said. And how would you what message would you give to somebody who's just nervous about making a mistake? basically like who's scared of not saying the correct PC thing, or just like those who maybe want to reach out but don't know how, essentially.
Okay, so how so making a mistake for a person that does not have a disability or is having trouble identifying with a disability, are nervous just to talk about it or ask questions. In my opinion, my personal opinion, I always would rather a question. Ask about my CP. Ask, hey, why are you in a wheel? Or not, hey, why are you in a wheelchair? But hey, I was awful curious.
Yeah.
Why you have wheels and why you can't walk. Because I would rather you assume than think something that isn't true. Because the only way the people of tomorrow, the kids of tomorrow that have disabilities that are going to learn, that are going to end off better than me, is because of education. And as we know, in Nova Scotia at least, that is not being talked about in schools, or not even enough. So ask the people that have disability, or if if you ask them first if they cannot communicate. Maybe ask their caregiver, their parent, their guardian, whoever is with them.
That's very true, and it's about the same with Alberta. I've done some advocacy with both secondary education as well. May I ask you what you're taking? Or
I'm actually in high school. So I am still having some attitudinal barriers in my high school. But I hope to go to Mount St. Vincent University when I'm done, and maybe take a degree in psychology or in business, and definitely work with kids or do some advocacy on the side.
wonderful, you're doing a great job. What do you think is the biggest challenge for youth with disabilities, and how would you say we can overcome, or they can overcome, these challenges from your perspective as the ambassador?
Okay, the biggest issue I have with having a disability is physical and attitudinal barriers.
Right.
And that comes with education. How we can overcome that is education. Everything finds down to education and money and willing to try to make things accessible. Quite frankly.
You speak very well and concise, I agree. So in the 2 years that you worked with the council, what are the biggest steps of progress you've seen?
I've seen many steps of progress. Mihai Kavasar has made a podcast called Help Teach. It's about people with disabilities talking about their life in schools and in the Canadian public education system. And it's called Help Teach. You can find it on all platforms.
Wonderful. And what do you think? You talked about confidence building before, and what do you think is one of the biggest confidence builders that persons with disabilities and the Rick Hansen Foundation itself has been able to implement, do you think?
Just giving me opportunities to speak and better myself, and speaking would give me confidence to advocate in other avenues of my life.
Well said. Very said. I am cerebral palsy too, so I definitely can share some of the experiences you've had, and you're very intelligent and well-spoken young lady. I think you'll go very far. And may I ask as a final question, what inspires you from day to day to be an advocate, and to keep going?
What inspires me to advocate and keep going is with the physical and attitudinal barriers that I have faced in my 16 years of life. It should not have happened. Should not have happened at all. And that's what inspires me, of the people of tomorrow that shouldn't have to go through what I went through in my life. Because I've had a good life so far, but there are so many bumps along the road that shouldn't have happened. And with education, with power, with the government realizing what people with disabilities are valued, what schools, what even jobs, with the value, with education. That's what inspires me to keep advocating, keep fighting for the rights of people with disabilities. So it makes sure that I at least tried to put my foot forward, or to put my wheel forward, to make sure I stood up for what is right.
Amen. Amen to that, if you don't mind the expression. And I should go back a little bit. What would you define as an attitude barrier? I think I know what you mean, but I don't want to make assumptions.
Attitudinal barrier is the lack of education and assuming what people, and just really not treating people with disabilities right.
Yes. Yes, I think I got that quite well. Yeah, well, with your attitude, I'm sure those barriers will, it will be a slow process, but, it's people like you who really make a difference, so please know that. To see such a maturity in your young age, it's really, quite remarkable. So I am really privileged to have this interview with you today, and thank you.
Thank you. I just want to pop in for people that have disabilities that watching this.
Yes.
No, you're not alone. Know that there are people out there like you. I know it's pretty. I know people with disabilities feel alone sometimes because it's hard to connect with people sometimes. But no, you're not alone. And use your disability as your ability as a superpower, because you'll move mountains that way.
Exactly, and any other final thoughts?
What I truthfully, for parents and educators out there that are listening, if you have a young child or even an older child with any disability, I would try to get them involved in sports and recreational activities that either have other people with disabilities or other families, or just or just neurotypical sports, because I find that there is a good balance in both. Because if it's for people with disabilities and special needs, it gives you the I guess support system that you'll meet new people.
Right.
And for people that, if your child is with neurotypical kids, it gives your child, it sets your child up for success with people that may be able to understand and learn and benefit your child's learning capabilities. And sports and recreation is good in many different situations. It helps building confidence, it helps leadership, it helps strength, mobility, and just overall kindness.
I can definitely see it works with the confidence. You definitely have so much of that. What sports do you do? Just for an example for the listeners.
I have done wheelchair racing. That's a recent sport. Equestrian riding, horseback riding. I've tried shot put. I've tried basketball. I've tried surfing. That's what I love.
Ooh,
I've tried many sports, but surfing's my favorite. Life rolls on Myrtle Beach is the best day of my summer. It's a barrier-free program for people with disabilities to surf. So
how wonderful. Well, thank you for your time. This interview has been incredible, and I'm hoping that we can connect in the future for any different things. And I wish you well in finishing high school, because I know it can be a bit of a challenge. And I wish all the best to you.
thank you.
And my listeners will have to excuse me because I'm going through a spasm, but we'll make it through this. Hang on. Okay, where did the button go? Ah! You're probably better at this than I am.
No, it's all good. I have done some pretty big speeches in my time. Are you